Hello everybody, we're getting ready to do 4.6 for Algebra 2, Part 1 of 4.6. You want Part 2, Part 3, contact me. 4.6 Part 2, solving exponential and logarithmic equations. We have a 29-point skill sheet here, and we have no points for notes. It's all going to be classroom performance for this one. Here is your standard here for this lesson. Teachers, here's your bell work for your students. Give them about 5 minutes to do these. Change of base formula. This is in part 2, part 3 of the preceding lesson. And then condensing this lesson here. This again would be in part 2, part 3 of 4.5. Here is your solution for number 1. We use our different properties here. For this here, this is the quotient property here. And then we have a second quotient here that we handle here. And then for here, we're using condensing the expression here for this problem here. We use various methods of solving logarithms here that was in the previous lesson. Okay, so solving exponential and logarithmic equations. You studied exponential and logs, you will solve exponential and logarithmic equations. So exponential equations are equations which variable expressions occur as exponents. The result below is useful for solving certain exponential equations. Students, for your notebook, put in your own words this definition right here, exponential equations. When I teach this in a classroom, I check my notes for these vocabularies on Friday. Although this one here will go into your classwork, so it's on your classwork sheet and not in your notebook. But usually it is in your notebook. Okay, key concept here. Property of equality for exponential equations. If b is a positive number other than 1, then b to the x equals b to y, if and only if x equals y. Example, if 3 to x equals 3 to the 5th, then x equals 5. If x equals 5, then 3 to x would equal 3 to the 5th. Okay, example 1, solve by equating exponents. So we have an equation here. 4 to the x equals 1/2 x minus 3 power. Write the original. We write 4 and 1/2 as powers with base 2. So we're going to go from base 2 out of here. This is 2 to the negative 1. This is 2 squared. And then we put our x out here. Now we can solve our exponents. 2 to the x, this power of power. We get rid of an exteriorized exponent in the last step. 2x equals negative x plus 3, property of equality for exponential equations. And then we solve x equals 1. Solution is 1. Do we check? Yes, we check. Here's our check, and it checks out. 4 to 1 equals 1 minus 3. Okay, so now our first guided practice here. We have this expression here. Solve it. And then students, this is yours here. Solve this. Guided practice. This is how these hash out. Here is base 3. I'm going to go with base 3 here. 3 squared. This is 3 cubed for 27. And then 3 to the 4x equals 3 to the 3x minus 1 here. After multiplying these exponents up here. Then 2 to the x will be 3 to the 4x. Then we drop our exponents down and we have this expression